Welcome! So there is a very good chance you're either just about to start your first year of teaching or you're already right in the thick of it, feeling the overwhelm and, frankly, looking for a lifeline. Listen, you are absolutely not alone. The start of your teaching career is incredibly daunting. But here's the good news. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Today's explainer is built directly from the First Year Teacher Workbook Free Starter Edition. We're going to take all those abstract worries swirling around in your head and turn them into concrete, manageable plans.
Okay, let's dive right into this explainer's agenda. We are going to cover the reality check, grounding and mindset, proactive management, communicating confidently, and finally, your quick win checklist. Section 1. The reality check, validating the first year overwhelm. You know, most of what makes the start of the year so incredibly hard isn't one massive disaster. It's the sheer volume of small, unfamiliar decisions happening all at once at a lightning-fast pace right in front of an audience of students who are watching your literally every move. It is perfectly normal to feel the weight of that. But there is a powerful, relieving statement straight from our source material that you need to hear. You are allowed to not have this figured out yet. Nobody, and I mean nobody, walks into their own classroom for the very first time already knowing exactly how it will go. And that's not because you weren't trained well. It's simply because some things only make sense once you are the one finally responsible for the room. A major trap new teachers fall into is chasing this impossible goal. They try to have absolutely everything ready and perfect before day one. It's exhausting, and frankly, it's unattainable. What actually helps is just having a few specific plans ready to go. If you have a plan for your own nerves, a plan for common behavior moments, and a plan for talking to families, the rest can actually be figured out as it comes.
Pillar 1. Grounding and mindset. Steadying yourself before the year asks a lot of you.
Before the school year asks a lot of you, you really have to steady yourself. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we often carry around this massive, vague sense of dread. You know, that what if it all just goes badly feeling. There is no way to prepare for that because it's way too broad. It just sits in your mind, taking up precious mental space. But if we shrink that dread down and identify the actual specific fear underneath it, like, what if a student asks a question I can't answer and I completely freeze, well, we can disarm it. An unnamed fear just takes up space, but a named fear, that is something you can actually plan around. So to disarm that fear, we use a concrete strategy. Step 1. Identify that specific worst-case moment. Step 2. Draft one ready-made line you can use when it happens. By Step 3, you've magically shrunk that vague dread down to a single sentence. For example, if you fear getting a question you don't know the answer to, your ready-made line is simply, I don't know, let's find out together. Boom. The dread is gone, replaced by a sentence you already know exactly how to say. Pillar 2. Classroom management. Foundations that hold up under pressure.
Let's dispel a massive myth right off the bat. Classroom management is about procedures, not personality. It is so tempting to think that good management comes down to being naturally firm or having that booming teacher voice. But in reality, calm management simply comes from decisions made in advance. The absolute calmest teachers are the ones who already decided how they would respond before the moment ever even showed up.
Let's anchor this abstract concept into a very relatable reality. How do you handle the constant call-out? This is a scenario from the source material that comes up in almost every classroom every single year. A student just keeps blurting out answers during your lesson. So what do? And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between winging it and actually being prepared. A reactive teacher responds differently every single time. Sometimes they ignore it, sometimes they snap, sometimes they try negotiating out loud in front of the whole class, which, let's be honest, just creates chaos. But a prepared teacher? They do the same quiet, low-drama thing every time. A quick gesture to a posted signal, a brief pause, and a private word later. That calm consistency is what actually changes behavior over time. To build that calm consistency, you really only need to structure two things for the behaviors you know are coming. Step 1, your planned response for the moment. Step 2, your escalation line. And listen, that second step is an absolute lifesaver. Knowing exactly when you will stop handling it yourself and get support prevents you from making those panicked, in-the-moment judgment calls when your blood pressure is rising and a situation feels like it's going too far.
Pillar 3. Talking to families. Communicating without the anxiety.
Now, this area always feels high stakes because, well, it is. You're managing another person's worry about their child, and you're often doing it in writing, where you can't easily soften your tone or read the room. If you ever get nervous staring at a blank email to a parent, remember this. You don't need the perfect words.
You definitely do not need to write an impressive essay. You just need a reliable structure you can trust, so you aren't starting from a blank page while you're already feeling anxious.
Okay, here is an absolute foolproof structure for an everyday positive update. Step 1. Name something specific and small. Step 2. Say why it stood out. Step 3. Offer a warm close. Specificity is what makes this land beautifully. Saying, she was kind to a classmate when they dropped their pencils, lands so much better than a generic, she had a great day, because it proves to the family that you were actually paying attention to their kid.
Now, what about mild concerns? The structure shifts slightly, but it remains incredibly simple. Name the pattern factually, flag it early, and most importantly, offer a partnership rather than a verdict. Families respond so much better when you say, I wanted to loop you in on this so we can support him together, rather than sounding like you've already made a final harsh judgment about their child's character. It just keeps the door open.
Section 5. Your quick win checklist. Turning abstract advice into concrete achievements.
So, the crucial point here is that by going through this explainer, you haven't just been passively listening. You've actually been building real tools. You can now pause and do these 3 things. Name and reframe one fear, plan one behavior response and an escalation line, and draft one genuine family message using a trusted structure. Suddenly, your vague worries are instantly replaced with a real, usable plan.
Now, the source material for this explainer comes from the free starter guide. But it's worth briefly noting that if this structured approach helps you, there is a complete workbook system out there. It covers 10 full modules, walking you through the rest of the year's inevitable challenges, things like the mid-year dip, formal observations, and surviving winter burnout, complete with quick reference cards and bonus scripts.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative reflection straight from the text. Look at your schedule for the next week. What is one situation coming up where you could name something specific instead of carrying around a vague worry? Take a breath, write it down, and make your plan. You do not have to have it all figured out today, but you are absolutely capable of figuring out the very next step. You've got this.